Good morning, children. Today in your English class, we'll further go for reading and understanding the story properly. I hope that you people have read the first very page and marked all the new words and searched for the meaning from the dictionary and written in your rough copies too. You have to learn the spelling properly. You should know each and every spellings properly, children. Till now, we have come to know that Mrs. Donovan, she had a terrier dog and she lived in Derby, and she just thought that she was the one who knew everything about the animals and their ailments and the treatment or the medicines more than the veterinary doctors. We'll begin with the second para from the second page. Since she inhabited the street of Derby all day and every day, I often encountered her, and she always smiled up at me sweetly and told me how she had been sitting up all night with Mrs. So-and-so's dog that I had been treating. Now, Mrs. Donovan, she used to go to the doctor, and the narrator is a doctor, animals doctor, and he's a vet, and she used to go to the doctor and tell him that she had been awake throughout the night and she had gone to some or the other house where so and so, because the name the narrator has he does not know who the lady was, and she had been throughout the night, she had been there beside the dog and she was taking care of the dog, which the narrator, the doctor, the vet was treating. There was no smile on her face, however, on the day when she rushed into the surgery while Siegfried and I were having tea. Now, there was no smile on her face, however, on the day when she rushed into the surgery while Siegfried and I were having tea. Now, it happened one day that suddenly Mrs. Donovan, she just rushed into the narrator's clinic. At that time, the doctor and his colleague, they were drinking tea. Mr. Harriet, she gasped, can you come? My little dog's been run over. So she came and she told the doctor that her little dog has been run over. Run over is here a phrasal verb, and it means, children, that he has met with an accident. The dog has met with an accident, might be some or the other. The car or a vehicle must have run over the dog. He slipped his collar and ran in front of a car. She murmured, he is lying in front of the school halfway up Clifford Road. Please hurry. And she kept on murmuring and telling that my dog is lying there at the on the road, and please hurry. You should just hurry and with me. You should come with me and just look at him, what happened to him, treat him. I was there within 3 minutes as I bent over the dusty little body stretched on the pavement. I knew there was nothing I could do. So the narrator, he went there. Within 3 minutes he went there, he reached there, and as he bent over the dusty little body of the dog, it was stretched on the pavement, children. I knew there was nothing. He knew that there was nothing he could do. I'll take him back in the surgery and get some saline into him. Mrs. Donovan, I said, but I'm afraid he's had a massive internal hemorrhage. Did you see what happened exactly? Then he just said that, Mrs. Donovan, I should take it to my clinic, and I think um, might be he is no more. I'm afraid he has a massive internal hemorrhage. That, did you see what happened exactly? And hemorrhage means, children, that some kind of vein or something must have um, cut, and there must be bleeding inside. Internal bleeding must be going on. She gulped. Yes, the wheel went right over him. So she just anyhow she gulped means she just in a very very um, uh, disturbed way, she just half she could speak, half she couldn't. She just said that yes, yes, I saw the car's wheel, it went right over him. Raptured liver for sure. I passed my hands under the little animal and began to lift him gently. But as I did so, the breathing stopped and the eyes stared fixedly ahead. And when he just, the narrator, he passed his hand under the little animal and began to lift him gently. And as he did so, the breathing stopped and the eyes stared fixedly ahead, and the dog's eyes were staring fixedly in one direction. That is, might be he was dead. When we die, then we, if our eyes are open, children, then we keep on staring at something. Mrs. Donovan sank to her knees, and for a few moments she gently stroked the rough hair of the head and chest. He's dead, isn't he? She whispered at last. So finally, children, she sank. She was so sad. Mrs. Donovan sank to her knees, and for a few moments she gently stroked the rough hair of her dog and of the head and his chest. And she just announced, he's dead, isn't he? She whispered at last. Now the narrator, the veterinary doctor, he said, I'm afraid he is, I said. She got slowly to her feet and stood bewilderedly among the little group of bystanders on the pavement. Her lips moved, but she seemed unable to say any more. And she just stood up slowly to her feet, and she was and stood bewilderedly among the little group of bystanders. Bystanders means the people were standing there near the on the road, and she was looking at them in that mixed up emotion, the feeling, the sadness. She just wanted her dog back. Her lips moved, but she seemed unable to say any more. Her lips, it moved, but she couldn't talk. She never could say any more. Then she shook her head. No, I couldn't. That little dog meant too much to me. I couldn't let another take his place. And she said that she won't be able to take another dog. She won't be able to just go for taking another dog, as he was the one whom she couldn't miss. I took her arm, led her over to the car, and opened the door. Get in and sit down, I said. I'll run you home. Leave everything to me. And the doctor said, the narrator said that just sit inside your car and I'll be taking you home. Leave everything to me. I wrapped the dog in my carving overall and laid him in the boot before driving away. It wasn't until we drew up outside Mrs. Donovan's house that she began to weep silently. I sat there without speaking till she had finished. Then she wiped her eyes and turned to me. So the doctor, He wrapped the dog in his whatever he was wearing, a long coat type of thing, overall, and laid him in the boot before driving away. And he laid him in the car's boot. It wasn't until we drew up outside Mrs. Donovan's house that she began to weep silently. And finally, when Mrs. Donovan reached her house, she began to weep. I sat there without speaking till she had finished. And the narrator too sat there. She kept on weeping. Then she wiped her eyes and turned to me. Then she just wiped her eyes, became very strong, and she said, "Do you think he suffered at all?" She just asked, "Do you think he suffered at all when he was crushed under those tires of the vehicle?" "I'm certain he didn't. He was all so quick. He wouldn't know a thing about it. So it was all so quick. Suddenly the car was there and it ran over it, and the death was so quick that he couldn't even think about it, or he never had to suffer any pain." She tried to smile. Poor little Rex. "I don't know what I'm going to do without him. We have traveled a few miles together, you know." So she told that without that poor little Rex, I just can't do anything. We have been for like with each other together for a few miles. That means they have been long they have been together. And she can't forget her dog. "Yes, you have. He had a wonderful life, Mrs. Donovan, and let me give you a bit of advice. You must get another dog. You would be lost without one." So finally, the doctor, as everybody sympathizes, he also said that you had given that dog a very wonderful life, and just a piece of advice I want to give, that you must get another dog. You would be lost without one. So he advised that she should get another dog. She shook her head. "No, I couldn't. That little dog meant too much to me. I couldn't let another take his place." And finally she said that I won't be able to let any dog take Rex's place. "Well, I know that's how you feel just now, but I wish you would think about it. I don't want to seem callous. I tell everybody this when they lose their animal, and I know it's a good advice." So he said that, "Well, just now might be you are feeling very sad about it, about the dog, about your dog, but I wish you would think about it. You go for it and you think about it. I don't want to seem callous. Don't think that I am a little bit cruel. I tell everybody this when they lose their animal, and I know it's a good advice, and I become a little bit might be in practical, you can say, and I'll tell everybody that you should go for another animal. You won't miss your the dead animal." "Mr. Harriet, I'll never have another one." She shook her head again very decisively. "Rex was my faithful friend for many years, and I just want to remember him. He's the last dog I'll ever have." Then she said that I won't. It's impossible. I won't. I have decided. Rex was my faithful friend, and I won't be able to forget it. And he was my last dog, that is, I'll ever have. I often saw Mrs. Donovan around the town after this, and I was glad to see she was still as active as ever. So the dog died. Still, Mrs. Donovan, she just, when the narrator, every time narrator saw, she looked more active. She participated in everything. She went to everyone in their sorrow, in their joy. She just went there to all the neighbors' house, and she, when they were joyful, she also enjoyed, and when they became sad or sorrowful, she was there for them to sympathize with them. Though she looked strangely incomplete without the little dog on its lead, but it must have been over a month before I had a chance to speak to her. and almost it was a month the dog died, and suddenly the narrator, the veterinary doctor, he just had the chance to talk to her. It was on the afternoon that Inspector Halliday of the RSPCA, Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, rang me. So today we will be just doing the explanation till here, children. Now in your previous lecture there was a child, a student, who asked the meaning of calf's, that was your calf's foot jelly, and that means, children, it happened that I have just given you the meaning there. People used to boil calf's foot and they added some kind of medicine, and they used to make medicine for your animals. Some or the other diseases were cured by it. So I have in written, I have given and text it in the comment section, children. You can just write down if you want the meaning of calf's foot jelly. Now we just wrap up with the lecture. I want again you must read the page, the same page we had for your explanation, and just underline again the new words, children, and you just go for writing the meaning, searching for the meaning, learning the new word spellings, and then writing the meanings further of this very page. Thank you and have a nice day.